For almost 4 centuries, one empire stretched across every ocean on Earth. At its height in the 1600s, it ruled vast territories on 5 continents, commanded the wealth of the Americas, and shaped the world in ways still visible today. From the silver fleets that crossed the Atlantic to the cultural networks that connected Asia with the Americas, the Spanish Empire created the first truly global system. But how did a small kingdom on the Iberian Peninsula rise to such astonishing power, and what forces eventually brought its golden age to an end? This is the history of the Spanish Empire. Chapter 1. Origins. The origins of the Spanish Empire began long before Spain existed as a single kingdom. In the early 1400s, the Iberian Peninsula was divided among several Christian kingdoms and the Muslim Emirate of Granada. Castile and Aragon were the most powerful Christian realms, each with distinct cultures, economies, and political priorities. A turning point came in 1469 when Isabella of Castile married Ferdinand of Aragon. Their personal union did not create a fully unified state, but it brought together 2 powerful monarchies that shared a vision of expansion, Christian identity, and royal authority. By 1492, their forces captured Granada, ending nearly 800 years of Muslim rule in Iberia. The same year, Christopher Columbus, sailing under the Spanish crown, reached the Caribbean while searching for a western route to Asia. Although he misunderstood what he had found, the discovery generated immense curiosity, ambition, and competition among European powers. Spain now stood at a crossroads. With Iberia consolidated and new lands waiting across the ocean, it was poised to transform from a regional kingdom into a global empire. Chapter 2. Engines of Rise. Several forces drove Spain from a collection of Iberian realms to one of the most powerful empires in human history. The first engine was maritime expansion. Supported by improved shipbuilding, navigation techniques, and royal patronage, Spanish explorers crossed the Atlantic repeatedly, mapping coastlines and establishing the first permanent settlements in the Caribbean. These early footholds became strategic bases for further expeditions. The second engine was military conquest. In 1519, Hernán Cortés initiated the campaign that toppled the Aztec Empire. In 1532, Francisco Pizarro defeated the Inca Empire. These victories, achieved through alliances with indigenous groups, advanced weaponry, and devastating pandemics, brought vast and wealthy regions under Spanish rule. The third engine was administrative innovation. Spain created viceroyalties, audiencias, and councils that offered a surprising level of bureaucratic control for the era. The empire operated through a mixture of royal authority, local elites, and the Catholic Church, which became central in education, conversion, and governance. The fourth engine was wealth, especially silver. Mines such as Potosi and Zacatecas became the economic heartbeat of the empire. Each year, treasure fleets transported enormous quantities of precious metals to Europe, fueling Spain's military ambitions and allowing it to influence continental politics on an unprecedented scale. By the late 1500s, Spain ruled territories from Mexico to the Philippines. It had become the first empire where the sun never set, connected by oceans, trade, and imperial authority. Chapter 3. Expansion and consolidation. Spain continued to expand, building an overseas empire unmatched in its geographic diversity. In the Americas, Spanish authority extended from the deserts of the Southwest to the jungles of the Amazon. Cities like Mexico City, Lima, Havana, and Bogotá grew into administrative capitals, cultural centers, and major trading hubs. Universities, cathedrals, and bureaucratic institutions shaped life across the continent. In Asia, the conquest of the Philippines after 1565 established Spain's longest-lasting Asian outpost. Manila evolved into the center of the Pacific trading system, linking Chinese merchants with American silver and creating a vibrant multicultural port city. In Europe, Spain controlled territories in Italy, the Netherlands, and parts of present-day Belgium. With control over these crucial regions, Spain became deeply entangled in European conflicts, dynastic rivalries, and religious struggles, especially during the Protestant Reformation. However, expansion brought significant challenges. Maintaining garrisons across vast distances demanded enormous resources. Piracy, disease, and storms threatened the treasure fleets. Indigenous resistance and complex local societies forced Spain to adapt constantly. Despite these pressures, Spain remained one of the most dominant global powers for more than 100 years. Chapter 4. The Peak. The Spanish Empire reached its greatest territorial extent between 1580 and 1650. During this period, the Iberian crowns of Spain and Portugal were united under a single monarch, briefly forming a colossal empire stretching across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. The Spanish treasure fleets became symbols of global wealth. These heavily armored convoys carried silver across the Atlantic, enabling Spain to finance its armies in Europe and cement its position as a superpower. The flow of silver even reshaped global markets, influencing economies as far away as China. Culturally, this was Spain's golden age. Writers like Cervantes produced timeless works such as Don Quixote. Artists like Velázquez and El Greco transformed European art. Architecture flourished, giving rise to grand plazas, monasteries, and palaces across Spain and its colonies. Yet the empire's brilliance masked growing strain. Endless wars, notably the 30 Years' War, drained Spanish finances. Rebellions erupted in the Netherlands, Portugal, and Catalonia. Rival maritime powers like England and the Dutch Republic challenged Spanish dominance at sea. By the late 1600s, Spain remained vast, but its ability to project power weakened noticeably. The empire was beginning to shift from dominance to endurance. Chapter 5. Crisis and Change. The 1700s ushered in a century of crisis and reinvention. The death of Charles II in 1700 triggered the War of the Spanish Succession, a conflict that reshaped the map of Europe. Spain lost several European territories to Austria and Britain, but retained its American and Asian domains. Under the Bourbon dynasty, Spain introduced major reforms. Trade restrictions were loosened, new ports were opened, and taxes were reorganized to increase revenue. These Bourbon reforms modernized parts of the empire and strengthened the monarchy's direct control over distant colonies. But new ideas began to circulate. Enlightenment philosophy spread among Creole elites in the Americas. Global revolutions, including the independence of the United States, inspired colonial leaders to question Spanish authority. Internal divisions grew, especially as economic tensions and social hierarchies sharpened. Napoleon's invasion of Spain in 1808 pushed the empire into chaos. The monarchy collapsed, leaving colonies uncertain about who held legitimate power. Revolutionary leaders seized the moment. Between 1810 and 1830, nearly all Spanish colonies in the Americas declared independence, reshaping the political landscape of the Western Hemisphere. Spain's remaining territories were few. Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines stayed under Spanish rule until the late 1800s. But even these would fade. After the Spanish-American War in 1898, Spain lost its last major colonies, marking the symbolic end of the Spanish Empire. Chapter 6. Legacy. Although the empire dissolved, its global impact remains profound. More than 20 countries speak Spanish today, making it one of the most widespread languages in the world. Legal systems across Latin America retain structures inherited from Spanish colonial law. Cities such as Lima, Bogotá, Buenos Aires, and Mexico City carry architectural and cultural footprints of the empire. Catholicism became a dominant force across the Americas and the Philippines, shaping identity, rituals, and community life for hundreds of millions of people. Food, music, festivals, and artistic traditions reflect centuries of cultural blending, indigenous resilience, and global exchange. The legacy is complex. The empire created vast trade networks, introduced new crops, and connected continents. But it also caused immense suffering. Forced labor, disease, and exploitation devastated indigenous populations. The empire's economic model enriched Europe while imposing heavy burdens on colonized societies. The Spanish Empire has vanished, but its influence continues to shape languages, cultures, borders, and identities around the world. The rise and fall of the Spanish Empire shows how global power can surge from ambition and opportunity, yet slowly fade under the weight of distance, conflict, and internal strain. If you enjoyed this journey through history, give this video a like and subscribe for more. And to continue exploring how global empires shape the modern world, click here to watch the history of the British Empire.